Maestrul Gianandrea Noseda, from your professional conducting debut, which took place more than 30 years ago, what main things do you feel have changed in you as a musician, as a human being?
The basic thing that changed is the time goes much quicker. Rehearsal time is reduced, you have to run more from one place to the other. I think in general there is less patience from everybody,
Yes.
the audience, musicians, but also I believe that music gives also the possibility to regain our time, just to allow ourselves to live in a little bit in a slow motion and to enjoy more every single moment of our life.
Like other great conductors, you spend a lot of time with the score.
Mm-hmm.
You create in your inner ear, in your inner spiritual world, a specific sound of your musical personality. And at rehearsals, you try to recreate your personal sound, that specific sound. But in some cases, the orchestra offers perhaps a better sound than you've imagined. What happens then? Do you adapt that sound created by the orchestra? Do you embrace it?
Of course, I go for the better possible result. And it's important anyway to get to the rehearsal with the sound world that you want to recreate. But sometimes, as you said, orchestra offers a sound you didn't imagine.
Yes.
And actually, surprisingly new and possibly better. In that case, you have to be able to embrace it and to adjust. Maybe you don't have to change everything, but
yes.
some parts of elements. So, but I think, I strongly believe that relationship between conductor and orchestra is really a team working environment. So it's not, of course, I have to take the responsibility as a leader, but it's always on give and take.
Yes.
And that is where, when happens, it is possible to get the higher result.
What is the essence of your musical partnership with the Mahler Chamber Orchestra?
This is our second project, because the first one was in Salzburg back in the spring. And what I like making music with the Mahler Chamber Orchestra is the spirit of curiosity and surprise. You don't have the feeling of established orchestra that week after week go to rehearse to get the program ready for the subscribers. And the risk in that case is to become a little bit like employee, no?
Yes.
Of course, you are always an artist, but you know, the day-by-day life. When they decide to be part for this project, I think they go back to the basic idea of when you are young and you want to really express yourself through music. They can recreate that experience.
Yes, I think the orchestra is renowned for combining principles of artistic curiosity and the broadest possible spectrum of repertoire from Baroque to contemporary music.
Correct. No, they are super open, very curious, very capable musicians. I have also to tell that this is the consequence of the Mahler Jugendorchester founded
Yes.
by Claudio Abbado.
Abbado.
And they decided when they went over the age to be part of the orchestra to continue that experience, that way of intending music that Maestro Claudio Abbado established, to continue in a reduced form, so Mahler Chamber Orchestra, but actually the quality they deliver is really high. It's a very, very, very top orchestra.
Yes. How do you feel, Maestro, in Enescu's universe? And how would you describe your musical partnership with the great violinist Augustin Hadelich?
I played several concerts with Augustin Adelich, different repertoire, and I like that we have the possibility to perform in the Enescu Festival in two venues, here in Timișoara and in Bucharest. I think he's one of the most gifted violinists
Of our time.
of our time, of course, and it's always a joy also because he always pushes me, but also the orchestra, to find something special. He brings something that pushes you to go over the limit you were thinking to be able to get. So it's fantastic. And my relationship with Romania, with this festival, with this part of the world, I'm very much attached with this part of the world where, of course, Romania is not Slavic, is more Latin like
Yes.
Italians, of
Yes.
course. But in the atmosphere of the geographic, the weather, the quality of food, I can find something that connects
Similarities.
with me, and also is a mixture of what is Italian, what is Slavic all together. And I find it fascinating.
What do you feel when you conduct Schumann's music?
I think of a man, a composer, an artist, a genius who had to fight very strongly with his personality.
Yes.
Because, of course, he had a problem of a little bit of schizophrenia. And so in the music, there are elements of this. When I approach Schumann, I don't try to make these differences mild, but I try to emphasize, because I think it serves better the personality of the composer.
Yes. I think it was a privilege for you, Maestro, to record with LSO the Shostakovich and the Prokofiev complete cycles of symphonies. By doing that, you had the privilege to approach the composer's entire personalities. Am I right?
You are absolutely right. When you do one symphony, 5 symphonies, even including Beethoven, you have an image of the composer. When you do all the corpus of the symphony, you have a clear... It's like if you conduct 4 or 5 symphonies, you have a picture of the composer, a photographia. Yes. When you do the complete cycle, you feel that you had the possibility to have a lunch, a dinner, or with a real man or real woman, if the composer is a woman. So with Shostakovich was a little bit like that, because I already, before embarking in this huge project to do all the 15 symphonies by Shostakovich, I already conducted at least 8 or 9. It's a big number.
Yes.
But to be involved in learn number 15, number 13, number 12, number 3, number 2, that was an incredible discovery, because even in those considered not important symphonies, which is not true, there is 100% Shostakovich, and maybe a part that you didn't consider before. So I'm happy having done that. Now in November, all the box of Shostakovich will be released, and Prokofiev will be much later, but also with Prokofiev is the same story, but you know, at least Prokofiev has 7 symphonies. But with Shostakovich was really
15.
a big journey with the 15 symphonies.
Yes.
But I'm satisfied also because having done with London Symphony Orchestra, who played many of the symphonies of Shostakovich, by Shostakovich with Rostropovich as a guest conductor, and who also played all the Prokofiev with Valery Gergiev. So there is a sort of imprinting of Russian conductors in that repertoire. So the orchestra is ready in the DNA as something connected with this repertoire.
Yes. Russian music, Russian culture had a strong impact on you. Of course, the masterpieces created by composers like Shostakovich or Prokofiev impressed audiences around the world. But now, the entire Russian society, the entire Russian culture are going through difficult times due to a cruel political regime that is very difficult to understand and accept in the European Union. What is your view on that, Maestro?
I think we have really to make clear and separate what is decision for a political power and what is culture. Cultural tradition, what has to do Tchaikovsky with this?
With this, yes.
Or Dostoevsky.
Yes.
I have to stop reading Dostoevsky or Tolstoy or Pushkin
Yes.
or Gogol
Or
or
Turgenev.
Bulgakov.
Yes.
Or, yeah, absolutely. Or Mussorgsky, Borodin, Tchaikovsky, even Prokofiev and Shostakovich or Schnittke. And you know what? I tell you that digging inside the Russian culture, because I just read Dr. Zhivago a few months ago,
Yes.
Pasternak, is incredible how I thought, but if some people would have read deeply this book or listen deeply to this music, for instance, Boris Godunov, there is everything is already told. So that is what is difficult to understand. You know?
Yes.
There is this, and there is a sort of behaving that doesn't connect.
Unfortunately, numerous conductors and soloists are no longer invited to perform in Europe and also in America.
I think also that needs to be clarified. If I am associated too closely to the president, autarkic dictator of that moment, it's difficult for me to be invited.
Yes.
But if I'm a free spirit, I show that I'm an artist, I care about the value of the arts and not the value of violence, cruelty, lack of freedom. I don't see why we shouldn't invite these people. With other people is more difficult.
Yes.
I mean, we know we are talking about what we are talking about.
Of course. How do you feel in Bruckner's work, whose musical language complexity must be rendered, I believe, primarily through slow tempos?
You got the point. I approached Bruckner very late in my conducting activity. I did my first symphony, which was the number 9. I started from the Everest, from the top, in 2020, so 5 years ago. I was already 56. And when I did that, it was a sort of experiment for me to see how I felt in performing that. And honestly, I discovered that I could approach that language in appropriate way. Maybe not the best, but appropriate. It was possible to approach with my view. And after that, I've done the number 6. I will do in this season the number 7. So I'm little by little enlarging that. You know why I've never done before, when I was 56, before my 56th age? Because I thought I didn't have the tranquility, the patience to let the music speak. Now I am a little bit more courageous. I trust more the music. With Bruckner, is crucially important, as you said. It's not just the slow tempo, it's just the slow way of development.
Yes.
That is what needs.
Celibidache knew very well to build those Bruckner-like cathedrals of sound.
Correct. But Sergiu Celibidache, one of the heroes also of this country, but of the world, he belonged to the world, being the great artist who he was. No, he had the magic touch in any repertoire, but when came to disveil the complexity through the time, giving the time to develop organically without forcing, genius.
Speaking of Celibidache, 2026 will mark the 30th anniversary of his death. I would like to know some of your thoughts about his vision of making music and conducting.
I always loved and respected Maestro Celibidache. Of course, I didn't have the possibility to meet.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. I didn't meet Herbert von Karajan. I met once Leonard Bernstein, just attending a concert.
Yes.
But you know the giants.
Yes.
I'm talking about the giants.
I know.
But what I always respected was this sense of integrity for the music. The intellectual honesty, whatever he was doing. even when did something that maybe you don't associate, like Mozart Requiem, always there is something to discover through the eyes, the heart, the mind, the life of Maestro Sergiu Celibidache. There is always an element that you never considered before and make that particular piece to sound slightly differently and open a window, sometimes a door, sometimes a gate in your mind. That is what I respect. When he conducted, there is a recording with the Rai Orchestra, Prokofiev, Fifth Symphony, revelatory.
I have the recording, yes.
I have that recording as well. Incredible.
Yes.
How the and you don't imagine Celibidache dancing or conducting. It actually was almost miming the dance of. You don't imagine, but doing like that, it took out the heaviness of the first movement, making the second as a sort of dance.
He is adored in Italy, especially. Not only in Italy.
Very much. And Nero also because he spent time with the Rai Orchestra a lot, and not only that, but of course when I went to Swedish radio to conduct, there is a big poster, and I mean, when I went to the Münchener Philharmonic, there is a bust, a statue of. So whenever I go, there is always a witness, something that reminds the great artist of the past, and of course, Maestro Sergiu Celibidache was one of those.
Yes. What does it mean to you, Maestro, to be the general music director of the Zurich Opera? What are the criteria that underlie the program of the repertoire for a season at Zurich Opera?
That is a combination, because I am a music director, but we have also the intendant, and we have also the director of the opera. That means not only casting manager, but how to build up the repertoire. Of course, when we come to the point to insert new operas, I'm very important, because what we ought to do, when there is repertoire, I cannot say I'm less important, but of course it's already in the house. Unless there is a production that I think is not up to the point, I talk to people and we discuss. But it's always also there a teamwork. When we decide new productions, also according to what I discuss with the intendant, I can have an important role, of course. For instance, for many years we have not had in the opera La Forza del Destino, so I'm doing a new production now in November, December. And I also decided that because in the opera house we have a fantastic corps de ballet, fantastic ballet, and I think a music director of the opera house where there is a good ballet, at least once has to do a new production with the ballet. That's why I decided to do a new production of Prokofiev, Romeo and Juliet, in the spring. And after that, of course, concerts. I increased the number of the symphonic concerts to put the orchestra from the pit to the stage. And also some Wiederaufnahmen, of course, some revivals. But from the revivals, I'm very careful, because I would like to have a production that I like, and I also would like to have a bit of rehearsal, because with the revival usually you have one orchestral line, one Bühne orchestra. So when I do a Wiederaufnahmen, I increase being a music director a little bit the time of rehearsal. Unfortunately, with guest conductor, it's not possible.
It's not possible, yes. You are also the music director of the National Symphony Orchestra in Washington, D.C. How would you define the sound of an American orchestra compared to that of an European symphonic orchestra?
I have to say that especially the National Symphony Orchestra, if we look my predecessors, we had the beginning of the 70s Antal Dorati.
Antal Dorati, yes.
After Antal Dorati was appointed Slava Rostropovich for many years. After that was Leonard Zlatkin, the only American. After that was for 3 or 4 years, without being a music director, but a principal conductor, Ivan Fischer. And after that, Christoph Eschenbach, before myself. So if you look, take out Zlatkin, but Antal Dorati, Rostropovich, Eschenbach, myself. We are
European.
all Europeans.
Yes.
What means? That means that the orchestra has a particular ability to approach European repertoire from European composers in a certain way, because they had this music director that insisted in that. From the other side, having had for 19 years Leonard Slatkin, they have this precision of the English orchestras,
Yes.
of the American orchestras. This, intonation is always there, rhythmically, practically no problems. So how to combine that? What I try to bring is this Italianate way of phrasing, which is always, I try, cantabile, more espressivo. No?
Espressivo, yes.
And that even without voices. Very often I ask, sing, but how I can sing with the instrument? Phrase. And that I think we are achieving together with myself, but it's an orchestra with American elements, but also very ready to use that technical precision to a service of European. I think it's very unique, being an American orchestra in the capital, having this possibility to have this kind of variety.
Of sound, yes. You've conducted so many works. Do you still find new meanings in the scores? How do you manage to maintain your spontaneity when approaching a score that you have conducted dozens and dozens of times?
My secret, I don't think it's a secret, my modus operandi is to go back to the score always.
Always.
Not to take for granted I know by heart, because I know by heart.
Yes.
Reopen the score, and the score is like a small Bible. You find a word that you always read, but you never consider important in the Bible. And in the score is the same.
It's the same
Maybe
thing,
you
yes.
see a note, second clarinet. Always been there, you always but that time when you look again the score, that note speaks to you. And it doesn't change your architecture, but it changes that thing. And starting from there, you can consider other things slightly different. So I have only this secret. Always go back to the score, spend the time. Of course, Schumann second I conducted, I recorded at least 40 times. But before coming here, in the plane, coming here, in the day before the rehearsal, I spent, I guess, 4 to 9, 10 hours. Just not because I don't know, but
Of
just
course,
to go slow, no?
Yes.
And the 2 hours. After that, you go to the cafe, a little bit of walk in Timișoara, which is a beautiful city.
Yes.
After you go back, 1 hour and a half to see the harmonic development that is already in my mind, but to see other things. And when you go to rehearse, you know the music, but you look for something slightly different.
How is, in your vision, the Enescu Festival perceived around the world?
Very importantly, I think it's considered a very highly regarded festival in Europe and in the world. I know that is each 2 seasons, but maybe also because of that is very much respected. So you have every 2 seasons, you have this festival with major orchestra, other activities with chamber music. Is very highly regarded, and I'm happy to be here.
We are living in dark times, marked by wars, political and social crises. Does all this affect you in some way?
Gives me more responsibility in trying to do better what I'm asked to do.
Yes.
Through music, because music can really create links and bridges. Before coming here, I was in Sinandali, in the festival in Georgia, where I'm music director, and I played 3 concerts with young orchestra, Pan-Caucasian Youth Orchestra, where the components are taken, selected age 18-28 from Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Turkey, Moldova, Ukraine, south of Russia. It's incredible because through the music, they were loving each other. The Turkish and Armenian having parties together, and Armenian, Azerbaijan people, Ukrainian with the two Russians. They were friends. They were talking. They were eating together. They were music together. They were hugging together at the end of the concert. But we have to take the responsibility to insist even more, because if we know our culture, our roots, we are not afraid of our other culture, of other traditions. But if we don't know ourselves, everybody who is different from us is a possible enemy. And that is the problem. Now you have to know yourself, and after that you can learn so many different cultures, because it's a matter of respect, love, tolerance, and that's it. And when you come to music, you can really express yourself fully.
Yes. How difficult it is for a conductor like you, Maestro, to find the balance between your career as a conductor and your personal life?
Yeah, I'm married. I have my wife Lucia. We don't have kids. We don't have children. So whatever I do, she comes with me, and wherever we go, we establish a family life because we are together. And we try together to live a not normal life in a normal way, because it's a not normal life.
Yes.
Where from the 1st of January we have been home 3 weeks. It's not a normal life. But even here we try to establish that we try to live a normal life.
Apart from the music, what is important to Gianandrea Noseda?
Important to talk to people, important to listen to people, important to know different cultures through cuisine, through wine, because also that is culture, and through artists. I like read a lot, different literature from different countries, of course translated in Italian, but now in the last 10 years we have fantastic translators. So even if you take any book now, you can be sure that is properly translated. It's never like to read in original language. I know that because when I read a book written in Italian by an Italian, is a different story, but still I like to read American literature, South America, Eastern Europe, Russia, Scandinavian, African, New Zealand, because I like to understand. If you don't read, you don't understand. After that, when you meet with people, to listen, to tell me what you think, that interests me. And also, I have a deep love of the good things of my country. The good things. You know, in Italy we are a little bit disorganized, the discipline is not our best quality, but when it comes to cuisine, to wines, and not only to drink wine, but to know how the wines are produced. Because every region, we have 20 regions, they produce different kind of wines, so you can really study and learn how. Or lutherie, the violin making, still Italian lutherie is considered the best in the world. So I went deeply to study how an instrument sounds. So I have different passion. And when I am in vacation, I also like to hike in the mountains, or when I go to the sea to swim. So I have a lot of interest.
What is it as you go forward through music, through life, that you try, that you want to achieve artistically, creatively?
I don't know, I think I have to really live the present as much as I can, and to take advantage of what I'm doing, and to give my best in that moment. You know, now I'm here, future is possible because we hope to live other 500 years, but we don't know what the future will bring. So what is important is today, and to think how to develop. But you know, you have really to be in the moment. If you
live in the moment.
Yeah, because if you live now, you are too much nostalgic of the past.
Yes.
Or you are too much expectation of the future, you lose the moment.
Yes.
It's like if I'm here, but I would like to be in Italy. After that, I'm in Italy, but I would like to be in Stockholm or in, I don't know. No, live that moment. When you are in Stockholm, you will enjoy. When you are in Timișoara, you will enjoy. When you are in Italy, otherwise you will be always depressed.
Yes.
Oh, but 20 years ago. Oh, but tomorrow. Yeah, but what about today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Maestro. It was a huge pleasure and honor for me. Thank you.
It was a pleasure also for me, and you're really welcome.
Thank you. If
Hopla.
you want to sign